Imagine this. The halls of the Persian Empire echo with laughter, the golden goblets overflow with wine, and the most powerful man on earth commands his queen to appear before the drunken crowd. But then, silence. The queen refuses. In a single act of defiance, Queen Vashti shakes the throne of the mighty King Ahasuerus, and this sets off a chain of events that changes the fate of nations. This is the story of a woman whose courage cost her a crown, but whose legacy became immortal. Perhaps the world remembers her as the queen who was cast aside. But perhaps in the grand design of history, Vashti was never meant to be a mere queen. Perhaps she was meant to be a symbol of self-respect, of silent rebellion, of the power that comes not from submission, but from knowing one's worth. A command is given, a choice is made, and with that choice, Vashti seals her fate, not as a woman who obeys, but as one who stands her ground. The price is heavy, the crown is taken, the throne is lost. Yet long after her name is erased from royal records, her story endures. The Bible never speaks her name again, but history does. And when it does, it speaks not of her downfall, but of her strength. Born into the shadow of empires, Vashti is no ordinary woman. The Bible does not reveal her lineage directly, but many Jewish traditions suggest she is of royal blood herself. Some say the granddaughter of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, the very man who destroyed Jerusalem and its temple. If this is true, Vashti would have been born into the lap of luxury and raised amidst political intrigue and vast power. She grows up learning the ways of the court, schooled in diplomacy, poise, and grace, preparing her for a life in the public eye. Her beauty becomes her defining trait early on. Her name, Vashti, meaning beloved or best, becomes a symbol of her radiance. She is described in extra-biblical texts as strikingly lovely, a woman of unparalleled physical charm. This, coupled with her commanding demeanor, makes her a prize match for the ambitious Persian king, Ahasuerus, also known as Xerxes. When Vashti ascends to the throne as Queen of Persia, she takes her place beside a man who rules 127 provinces, stretching from India to Kush. She resides in the opulent palace of Susa, surrounded by gold, ivory, and fine tapestries. Her days are filled with the duties of a queen, hosting royal guests, overseeing the women of the court, and maintaining her dignity as the First Lady of the Persian Empire. Yet even amidst this opulence, Vashti carries herself with an air of quiet authority, a queen not merely in name but in spirit. The Bible notes that Ahasuerus is a man who loves excess. As described in Esther 1 verses 3 to 4, he hosts an extravagant feast lasting 180 days, showcasing the riches of his glorious kingdom and the splendor of his majesty. For 6 months, the empire's elite gather to feast and marvel at the grandeur of Ahasuerus. And then, for 7 more days, the king hosts a final banquet, a spectacle of decadence where wine flows without limit. Vashti, in her own right, hosts a separate banquet for the women in the royal palace, underscoring her independent role in the court. Her authority is evident, and her presence commands respect. She is not a mere ornament of the court, she is its queen. But the 7th day arrives, a day that will etch Vashti's name into the annals of history. Fueled by wine and the cheers of his guests, Ahasuerus makes a fateful decision. In a bid to flaunt not just his wealth but his queen, he sends his eunuchs to summon Vashti to the feast. She is to appear before the drunken nobles wearing her royal crown, her beauty paraded like another treasure of the empire. While the text does not elaborate, many interpretations suggest that this command was degrading, perhaps implying she appear in only her crown. Yet in the silence of her chambers, Vashti makes her choice. She will not go. In one act of defiance, she shakes the foundations of the Persian court. Her refusal is not just an act of personal dignity, but a bold stand against a king's unchecked power. She will not be reduced to a spectacle, not even for the ruler of the known world. Her courage echoes in Esther 1 verse 12, where it is written, Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command delivered by the eunuchs. At this, the king became enraged, and his anger burned within him. In the halls of Susa, as the eunuchs return with her answer, the air thickens with tension. Queen Vashti refuses to come, they report, and the words fall like thunder. Ahasuerus's face twists with fury, his pride wounded before the most powerful men of the empire. The queen's defiance is not just a personal insult, it is a challenge to the very foundation of his authority. Thus begins the downfall of Queen Vashti, the woman who dared to say no. The silence that follows Vashti's refusal is deafening. The courtiers, once drowned in laughter and wine, now sit frozen, their eyes darting between the furious king and his messengers. Never before has a woman, let alone a queen, dared to defy the command of Ahasuerus, the ruler of the world's greatest empire. The air is thick with the weight of her defiance. Ahasuerus clenches his goblet, his knuckles white. The warmth of the wine has turned to fire in his veins. His pride, the very foundation of his reign, has been shaken before his nobles. What is to be done with Queen Vashti? He demands, his voice cold with restrained fury. The advisors, men of law, men of power, men who have never heard the word no from a woman, lean in, eager to shape the fate of the fallen queen. Memucan, the most cunning of them all, steps forward. His voice slithers through the great hall. Queen Vashti has done wrong, not only against the king, but also against all the nobles and the peoples of all the provinces of King Xerxes. For the queen's conduct will become known to all the women, and so they will despise their husbands and say, King Xerxes commanded Queen Vashti to be brought before him, but she would not come. Esther 1 verses 16 to 17. A hushed murmur sweeps through the court. This is not just about Vashti. This is about control, about ensuring that no woman in the empire ever thinks to follow in her footsteps. Memucan continues to say, If it pleases the king, let a royal decree go out from him, and let it be recorded in the laws of the Persians and the Medes, so that it will not be altered, that Vashti shall come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal position to another who is better than she. Esther 1 verse 19. Memucan's words feed the king's wounded pride, twisting his anger into something far greater, a decree that will stretch across every province, sealing Vashti's fate forever. Let her be queen no more. The words fall like a death sentence. In a single breath, Vashti is stripped of her crown, erased from the golden tapestry of Persia. A new decree is drafted at once, sent by couriers to every corner of the empire. That every man should be master in his own household. The message is clear: Vashti's defiance will not be tolerated. Beyond the palace walls, Vashti's fate remains shrouded in mystery. Is she cast into exile, left to wander the remnants of a life she once ruled? Is she locked away in solitude, her name spoken only in whispers? Or does she walk away with her head held high, knowing that she has won a victory unseen by men, a victory of dignity, of self-respect? No one knows. The Bible does not speak of Vashti again. She vanishes into history, but her legacy lingers like an echo in the halls of time. For in her fall, a new story is set in motion, the rise of a young Jewish girl named Esther, who will one day stand before the king and change the fate of an entire people. But before Esther, there was Vashti, the queen who chose honor over power, dignity over submission, the queen who dared to say no. And so, Queen Vashti fades into the shadows of history. Her name is silenced in the courts of Persia, her fate unwritten in the sacred texts. Her defiance reverberates through time, A single act of courage that threatened the foundations of an empire. She loses her crown, but she does not lose herself. She is stripped of power, yet she walks away with something greater, her dignity. In a world where kings rule with unchecked authority, Queen Vashti stands as a woman who refuses to be reduced to an ornament of the throne. She does not yield, even when the cost is everything. Her story is brief, but her legacy is profound. Without Vashti's fall, there would be no Esther's rise. Without Vashti's defiance, there would be no reminder that courage sometimes means walking away. Perhaps the world remembers her as the queen who was cast aside. But perhaps in the grand design of history, Vashti was never meant to be a mere queen. In Vashti's silence, her courage roars. Her refusal is more than an act of defiance, it is a declaration of her worth. And that's it for today's video. If you found this video insightful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into biblical stories. Have you ever felt like there's so much more to the stories you thought you knew? On our channel, we discuss the untold layers and hidden meanings behind some of the most captivating narratives in the Bible. Each episode invites you to explore the deeper emotions, conflicts, and mysteries that shaped the lives of people in ancient times. From family rivalries to miraculous moments, we explore the stories behind the scenes, giving you a fresh perspective on these ancient texts. Our episodes are designed to spark your curiosity and make you think about the deeper meanings behind these timeless tales. So, if you're ready to see the Bible in a whole new light, come and explore with us. You won't want to miss a single episode. Until next time, keep questioning and keep exploring.